Hello, I'm Cheryl Hawkins. Welcome to Solutions, the show that highlights the incredible work that nonprofits do to overcome challenges in our communities. According to the U.S. Census Bureau's most recent American Community Survey, it is estimated that 144,000 adults in Montgomery County, Maryland, 18 years of age and older, speak English less than very well. Opportunities for learning English are essential for individuals, families, and our communities overall. Learning English can open doors to education, medical care, crucial resources, and jobs, which help to strengthen our region. On this edition of Solutions, we're taking a look at MCAEL, a nonprofit organization that coordinates adult English learning in Montgomery County. MCAEL maintains and grows a complex system of approximately 60 ESOL, that's English for speakers of other language programs, providing grant funding, professional development, and system-wide advocacy to make English classes accessible and affordable for learners throughout the community. Joining me in studio to talk more about MCAEL is the organization's executive director, Gerard Etienne. Gerard, welcome to Solutions.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
It is such a pleasure to have you here. So I shared a little bit about what MCAEL does in the intro, but tell us a little more about the organization. When did it get started, and how long has it been in operation?
So MCAEL has been in operation since 2006, so it's been 20 years. And it came about because Montgomery County realized that while there were many programs throughout the county that provided ESOL classes, they weren't coordinated. Many of these programs were isolated. There weren't that many resources for these programs to tap into. So the county commissioned a study with Montgomery College and the Center for Applied Linguistics to determine what could be done to support this network of ESOL programs, and that's how MCAEL came about.
Very well. So who actually started the organization? Is there, did the county ask for it to come about? Is there a person? It was
driven by the county, by Montgomery County, yes.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about you. You have an interesting story. You came to this country as a teenager with your parents and entered American public school system knowing no English. Tell me about your journey and how did you make your way to MCAEL?
Well, it definitely wasn't a straight line. I can tell you that much. So I'll share a little bit about my personal background because it's very relevant to my role and to why I am passionate about this work and why I wanted to be with MCAEL. My family is from Haiti. I wasn't born there. I was born in Ivory Coast in West Africa. And my father, because he worked for the World Health Organization, got stationed in many different places throughout really the world. After Côte d'Ivoire, after Ivory Coast, we moved to India. We were there for, I think, about 3 years. And then we moved to Geneva, Switzerland. So I was in a French school system. My first language is French. We arrived in the United States, and I was almost 13 years old. And as you said, I went directly into the American school system. And even though I had taken approximately a year's worth of English when I was in Switzerland, it was absolutely no help, because speaking is quite different from learning English or learning another language academically. So it was tough going in the beginning, but I was fortunate in the sense that I was young and I was in an immersive environment for 5 days a week, 6 hours a day, and I was taking in English through 4 different modalities, if you will, because reading and writing and speaking and listening. So that really creates kind of a no-choice situation where you have to learn. So in that sense, I was very fortunate. I went to the University of Maryland here, and it took me a couple years to find my way to the nonprofit world. And that came about from volunteering.
Okay.
And it's not an exaggeration to say that it really changed the course of my career. I found that I was really passionate about mission-driven work. And I spent most of my career in for-profit in the for-profit sector, but moving to the nonprofit sector has been absolutely the right decision. I'm just thrilled to be in the position that I am now.
Wow. So how did you learn about this position?
I found out about it actually quite early. I believe I received notice from someone on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And I started working my network immediately. And I could tell you, quite frankly, as soon as I found out that the position was available, my first thought was, I want that job, because I understood the mission. I feel it is so important for people to have the opportunity to grow and thrive in the community that they're in, and that can't happen without language.
That's awesome that you said that. And there is nothing better, I think, than working in a nonprofit. You can really see the value of what you're giving when other people receive services and support that you're responsible for helping them to get, and you see it changing their lives. I love being a part of a nonprofit myself. We need so much, many more, and they need so much help from us. So what is the main mission of MCAEL? Tell us what services you provide.
MCAEL really is the hub of the ESOL programs in Montgomery County, and we really focus mainly on low cost and free programs. And our mission really is to strengthen that network of programs to provide really high quality instructions so that learners have access to it so they can thrive, in their lives, in their communities, at schools, and especially at work.
And so you all provide grants to
Yes.
groups that provide these services. You're not providing the services yourself.
Correct. We do have, I'll step back a little bit and first just mention the grants very quickly. We do provide grants to basically other nonprofit organizations, community-based organizations, and faith-based organizations as well. The other thing that we do is we provide professional development for instructors and program administrators. And we also we also have, we do data analysis, so we aggregate data from the programs that we serve and also from the American Community Survey that you mentioned. And we make that data available publicly. So if you go on our website, for instance, you'll see our story maps where you can see where programs are actually located. You'll also see where there are areas where there are areas that don't receive that don't necessarily have access to English to ESOL programs, and we focus our energies and our efforts into getting programs into those areas as well.
And the professional development opportunities that you provide, who is that for?
So those are for instructors, for ESOL instructors and for program administrators. And so we provide several times a year. We have convenings, and they can be either virtual or in person. And they're really wonderful events because it brings people together, and it gives them the opportunity to share what they're experiencing, what their programs are seeing. It's an opportunity to talk about solutions and develop best practices, and it's really just a wonderful place for people to find moral support, because this work can be challenging at times, and it's tremendously helpful to have a group of people you can share that with. We also provide instructor workshops, and we do about 8 to 10 of them per year, and these are typically virtual. And we also have a virtual platform called The Circle, and it's essentially the same concept. It's a place for people to gather online, if you will, and if they have questions, if they want to post what's going on with their programs, they may be looking for volunteers, they may have positions that they want to advertise throughout the network. So it's a place for them to do that as well.
Great. So you serve adults. Do you find, or is it the case that adults find it harder to learn English than younger people?
I can only answer that anecdotally and through personal observations. I'm not a linguist, nor do I play one on TV. There's no question that it is significantly harder for adults to learn, but not because of capability, but because of life circumstances. So imagine leaving your country of birth, going somewhere else where you do not speak the language, you have a family, you have children, you need health care, you need a job, you need to navigate daily life, and you have to take lessons in the language that you need to learn. That is quite a tall order. I mean, it is really difficult for families and for individuals to find enough time to be able to learn that language. So in that sense, yes, it is much more difficult. But I really want to emphasize again that it's not necessarily because adults can't learn.
Oh, no.
It's because the circumstances are really challenging. And the tragedy in that is that we have people who are really talented. We have people who can contribute so much to our community. We have people who were professionals in their country, people who were business owners, and they left their country for whatever reason. Maybe they were fleeing for political reasons or otherwise. And to not be able to exercise all of the talent that they have and not to be able to contribute it to the community that they live in is really tragic. And so from that perspective, that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this work is I want to give people the opportunity, I want MCAEL to give people the opportunity to really grow into who they're meant to be, if you will.
Now, you having been in their situations in terms of not knowing any English, is English, I mean, I think it is a hard language to learn. Is it much harder than other languages?
I don't know. I think every language has its own challenges. French is quite difficult. It's difficult for me still. I think the challenge with English is, at least one of the challenges that I had, it's the emphasis on certain syllables. And from someone from another country, it all seems pretty random, and you basically just have to memorize how to say certain words. I have a funny story. When we first came here, she was on the phone speaking, this was pre-cell phones, and there were still operators that you had to dial to make long distance calls. So she was on the phone with the operator saying she wanted to make a call, but she kept saying, I want to call Chicago. And she kept repeating, Chicago, Chicago. And I ran into the kitchen and I said, Mommy, it's Chicago.
Oh.
And she had a really good laugh, but that's one of the examples that when learning English, you don't know where the emphasis on the syllables are. And then the other confusing thing is that the same word can be used for multiple purposes and definitions.
And some words sound just alike. C-S-E-E, C-S-E-A, it's hard, I can tell.
Yes.
We're going to take a short break and be right back with more solutions.
English language learning opens doors to education, jobs, essential resources, and community engagement. For the thousands of Montgomery County residents who learn English each year, it's life-changing. But there is still so many more who want and need classes. MCAEL is the hub of English language learning, maintaining and growing a complex system that meets program, instructor, and learner needs. Discover how MCAEL is changing lives.
Welcome back. I'm Cheryl Hawkins. You're watching Solutions, the show that highlights the work of nonprofit organizations in our area. On this edition, I'm joined by Gerard Etienne, Executive Director of MCAEL. the coordinating entity for adult English language learning in Montgomery County. So let's talk a little bit more, Gerard, about the programs. We know there are grants that you provide, and then there's other, the CLG, Cultural
Community
Learning.
groups.
Yes. Talk about them a little bit.
Sure. So community learning groups are classes that we offer in areas where there isn't necessarily access to classes in that community. And the idea behind we call them CLGs. The idea behind CLGs is to provide a starting point for someone who wants to learn English but is not necessarily ready to enter a more structured program. These classes are 9 weeks long. We try to find individuals from that community as instructors. We can provide the training as well. That's one of the things that I failed to mention earlier in terms of professional development. We have a foundations course for anyone who's interested in becoming an instructor. It's quite a popular course. So, as I said, for CLGs, we try to find instructors from that community to lead these classes. And the idea is, after these classes, we really want to encourage the learners to continue their English learning language and take classes at other programs, perhaps more established programs. It gives them a starting point and prepares them to enter a more structured program.
So what languages does your organization support in teaching English as a second language? What are other people's home tongue?
So we don't necessarily support by language, although there are programs that have a specific language that they're more concentrated on, depending on the community. But the most common languages in Montgomery County are Spanish, French, Chinese, and Pashto from Afghanistan, and Vietnamese as well.
And why, I mean, we know you talked about a little bit, but talk in more depth on why it's important for immigrants to learn English.
Oh my goodness. I mean, just from a practical standpoint, in order to get a better job, in order to get better pay, it is absolutely imperative for someone to improve their English skills. And I think for adults, it's really one of the primary drivers. But it also allows you to just communicate with, if you have children, with your children's teachers. It allows you to communicate when you're going to the doctors. Something as simple as getting directions, or being in a grocery store and asking, where are the eggs? These things are secondary to us, but it's really hard to express just how isolating it is to not be able to speak a language, to not be able to express yourself. So it's absolutely critical for people to, to improve their English so that they can thrive in the community that they're in. And I will also add that it's really important for our community to help and to encourage and to support people in their English learning journey, because if you think about it, if someone improves their English skills, they're potentially able to get a better job. Better job means better pay. Better pay means now you have people who are able to contribute to the local economy. That raises the tax base, and it lifts all of our well-being. So from that perspective, I really see it as something that can improve the community overall.
So how many people do you serve in the program on a yearly basis, or?
So last fiscal year, we served 6,100 people. Wow. And we certainly hope to continue that and to serve even more. As you mentioned, there are 144,000 people in Montgomery County who speak English less than very well. So we would really like to reach as many of them. We want them to have access to quality instruction, near where they are and when they need it.
Mm-hmm. And how, I know it's a county program, so it's funded in part by the county, but nonprofits always need more money. So how else
I can
are
attest
you
to that.
What other funding do you receive?
So the grant program is 100% funded by the county, and I have to say we are very fortunate to live in a county that understands the importance of English learning, and the county has been incredibly supportive of MCAEL over the years, and so we're very grateful to that. But you're correct. We still have to do some fundraising. So, for instance, our CLG program is something that we definitely work to raise funds for. And as you said, we're a nonprofit. There's no time in a nonprofit's life where you're not trying to raise funds for operations and for programs.
How many people work in your organization?
We have 8 full-time and 2 part-time people.
Okay. Do you have any volunteers that work with you?
Not directly.
Okay.
Really, volunteers tend to work for the ESOL programs that provide the services.
And after a person has taken one of the classes and maybe feel like they need a little bit more, can they go back, take another class? Are there advanced classes to enroll?
Yes, there are many levels of instruction and classes, from early beginner, and you can break it down to intermediate beginner, advanced beginner, intermediate, and so on and so forth. And it goes all the way to advanced classes.
Okay.
And classes are available virtually or in person. And based on the data that we receive from our grant partners, the early beginner classes and the beginner classes tend to be more in person. I think that's just a preference of the learners. And it's very interesting, actually, as you move down the class levels, or move up in this particular case, when you get to the advanced classes, they are much more virtual. Okay. So it's in person for early beginners, and it turns to virtual for more advanced learners.
And do the organizations have graduation ceremonies or something like that? Do they receive diplomas, certificates or something?
And let me tell you, these events they're quite something. I attended a couple of graduation ceremonies earlier this summer, in 2025, and it was really a graduation ceremony. People got dressed up for it. Families and friends are invited. Each class gets to go up on stage to receive their diploma. And what's really moving and what's really incredible is to hear the learners themselves share their stories, because some of them will go up on stage and talk about their English learning journey. And I can't tell you how much courage it takes to, first of all, most people are uncomfortable with public speaking, but to do it in another language is quite challenging. And the courage, the perseverance, the dedication that these learners have it's moving, and it's inspiring. And you can also see people who have been in the same classes together. You can see the connection between them, the relationships that are built, the importance of the instructors as well is quite amazing. Yeah, these are, I've said this for a long time, these are not just English classes. I mean, these are opportunities for people to change their lives in ways that are profoundly meaningful.
And I was wondering, do the instructors speak the other language as well?
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. We have instructors who are only, not we directly, but many of the programs have instructors who speak only English.
Okay.
And they manage just fine. They do very well.
That's interesting. I never been in that situation, but I can imagine if you're just forced to have to keep listening and what you're being taught versus in your language thinking, I don't know, I'm trying. So it's just repetition, and what's the key to actually getting that other language down? And I've taken classes in high school, I took German, I took French, but like you say, if you're not immersed in it daily, there's like one couple of sentences I remember from a little piece we had to memorize, and I know what it means, but I don't know if I went to Germany, would it be understood?
The key really is, and I'll fall back again on my own experience, it's being forced to speak and being in an immersive environment where you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Because I know what happens when you're with family members or friends who speak the same language, you automatically revert back. It's just quick and it's easy. And to be able to speak a language you're not familiar with, you don't have the database, if you will, in place in your mind for all of the vocabulary. So it's really challenging to have the discipline to try and speak and practice. But the key for me is really practice.
Yeah.
Every opportunity you have to practice in a language, you have to take it. And it's great if you have a partner that you can do that with, but it takes real discipline to stick to speaking the language.
And this has nothing to do with MCAEL, actually, but I was just wondering from your perspective, I think that our public school system should do a little bit more to encourage students to learn another language, especially here in America. We have a large Spanish population, and we interact with them every day. But still, languages are electives. What do you think about that? I think especially the world is getting so much smaller.
Yeah.
In order for us to really know each other and, accept each other, sometimes it takes learning a little bit about the other people.
Absolutely. I think, for younger people in particular, you have to take advantage of their learning potential. It becomes more challenging after a certain age to learn a language. And I think there's just an opportunity for younger people to learn early on. And I will say this as well, when I was in school in Switzerland, and this is just true in just kind of European education in general, I was already introduced to English. I think at the age of 10, 11. And you really learn the grammar and the spelling, and you may not be able to speak it, but it creates a base of knowledge that allows you to learn the language as you progress.
Yeah, you're familiar with hearing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'd be all for introducing languages in school early on.
Me too. Thank you so much, Gerard, for being here with us and sharing all the wonderful things you're doing to help people learn English. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was a pleasure to be here.
Yes. I'd like to thank my guest, Gerard Etienne of MCAEL, for being my guest on this edition of Solutions. If you'd like more information about MCAEL, you can visit their website at MCAEL.org, or you can email them at admin@mcael.org, or you can call them at 301-881-1338. I'm Cheryl Hawkins. Thanks for watching, and see you next time for more Solutions.